Hello and welcome back to the second video of the day, because Itzulia ended today, and what a stage it was. Yesterday we had Buchmann as the victor because Astana had questionable tactics with sending up Luis Leon Sanchez multiple times in the break, even when Buchmann attacked, and obviously he was no match for him. But today proved to be a different story. But let's get started. The race began with a flurry of attacks. Many people tried to get in breakaways. The only one who was in basically every move was Alessandro De Marchi, because he was trying to get points for the King of the Mountains classification on the first three categorized climbs. He actually won those. And yeah, but other than him, a lot of riders in the breakaways changed. Nobody really got a gap for quite some time. And with 66 kilometers to go still, we had Astana pushing a really high tempo up the climbs around Ibar. And both Konrad and Schachmann were already struggling. Buchmann was on his own. And then a group of five formed. The group included Dan Martin, his teammate Tadej Pogačar, or Pogačar, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. Then we also had the two Astana riders, Yanni Zagira and Jakob Fuglsang, and the fifth rider was Adam Yates. In a group behind that was Emanuel Buchmann trying to chase them, but because he was the only one working at the front of that group, he was not able to catch them because five working together against one single rider. So he dropped back to his teammates, Schachmann and Konrad, and he let them do the work. But the gap grew quite a bit until that point. So yeah. Then came the next hill, the next climb, and Buchmann was not patient enough. He did not wait for Schachmann and Konrad, who were both struggling once again, and he distanced them again. I thought it would be better if he would have gone over the top with them, so he could have somebody to work for him. So he had to do all the work on his own. Yes, later on he got helped by one Movistar rider, but that was not enough. The gap grew out to about, it always changed between 1 minute and 40 to 1 minute and 50. And it stayed that way. Then on the descent, Schachmann and Konrad rejoined once again with about 25 kilometers to go, that was, into the stage. And the lead had still the advantage of a minute of 50 by that point. And then when we started the last climb of the day with 12 kilometers to go, Buchmann went really hard on that climb. He reduced the gap to about a minute or so. This is when Dan Martin tried to attack over the top, because he would try his luck winning the overall to take it from Yanni Zagira, who was by then the virtual leader of the race. But he was reeled in by Fuglsang, who was then, for a brief period of time, he was dropped, but he got back in on the descent. And yeah, with 3 kilometers to go, we had another attack, this time of Adam Yates, who showed that if it wasn't for that untimely puncture he had in the beginning of the race, that he could have won this bike race, because he actually finished it off. He won the stage, so congrats to him for that. But Yanni Zagira finished he finished just a few seconds behind, so he took the overall. And then there was even more heartbreak for Bora Hansgrohe, because going into the last kilometer, it actually looked like Buchmann could still finish second overall. but then in the last corner of the race, like this is a 6-day race, and in the very last corner, I don't know how many corners this stage race had, but in the very last of them, he took the wrong turn, which cost him valuable seconds, and he slipped from 2nd to 4th in the general classification. He even lost the podium, as if it wasn't bad enough that he lost the race, but no, he also lost the podium because he made a mistake in the very last corner of the stage race. Like, you can't script this. This happens once in a million. But yeah, heartbreak for Bora at the end. Astana with another general classification victory. I think the 8th or 9th of the year already. In total, there are now equal again with the Koenig, I think, both at 22 won races this season. So what do we take away from this race as a whole? We saw that when he was still fit, Alaphilippe basically on a lumpy stage, on these Ardennes type of races, stages, at the moment is unbeatable. But after he was injured, Schachmann did really great. Schachmann had a revolutionary race. I wouldn't say he is that much better than last year, but he has just more opportunities this year while riding for Bora Hansgrohe. And he's still developing, so I don't know if he can take one of the Ardennes Classics this year, but he has to be considered one of the favorites. I would put him probably around the top 5 if I were to pick my guys for those races today. We'll have to see if Kwiatkowski and Alaphilippe are fit enough to do those races, because that could bump up Schachmann's chances even more. Great race by him with 3 stage victories, and I think he held on to the points classification as well, and the best young rider, if I'm not mistaken, because he wasn't distanced that much. Then we also had, well, obviously Yates is coming to form. If it wasn't for the puncture, he could have taken the overall. Team of the moment stays Astana together with De Koenig. Like, Astana wins basically every second general classification there is, while De Koenig win basically every one-day race there is. So this will be an interesting race to follow in the future. If it will be at the end of the season, who will have more victories, De Koenig or Astana? At the moment they're level at 22. Then another thing we have to look at that we can take from this race is Bora. Bora is no longer just the team of Sagan and 29 Alpers, what they were quite some time ago, because they have Sam Bennett, they have Schachmann, they have Buchmann. Even Conrad did a pretty good race today. Bora Hansgrohe, they also have Ackermann as a sprinter, not to forget. So their roster is making some noise in 2019. They are not yet at the level of strength and numbers of the two before mentioned teams, but they're close. They're closing in. So good for that team. And yeah, I think that's my conclusions for this race. Hope you enjoyed it as well. And for now, I'm out.